going on, guys? Eddie from American Dreamers. So this is going to be a series of videos regarding house hacking. So if you're not familiar with that, house hacking is when you purchase a multifamily property um, and a first-time home buyer. So you plan on owner occupying the property, and that way you pay less of a down payment because if it's an investment property, I believe it's like 10 to 20% down. With a house hack, it's only 3.5, sometimes 5%, depending on which options you use. Actually, there's some that offer even no down payments. So this video, so it's going to be a series of videos. This is going to be the first. It's going to be budgeting. So pretty much just outlining your budget, your income, what you're spending your money on, where you can cut down, how you can save and start putting that money away for that down payment if you need it. Aside from the down payment, you're going to need money for closing costs, appraisal, inspection, and with multifamilies, you also need reserves. Reserves are the mortgage payment. They want to see a few months of that, so they want to see be able to pay the mortgage for, depending on which options you use, sometimes 6 months. Right now with COVID, some are requiring 9 months. In our case, it was 9 months of mortgage payments set aside, and that's not including the down payment or the closing costs, appraisal, inspection. The appraisal and inspection are usually anywhere from like 600 to 1,000 each. And then the other big thing is the closing costs. In our case, it came out to about $12,000, I believe. But what we factored into our offer was that the seller would give us back or put $10,000 into the closing costs, right? So our offer was 715, and they're putting out of that 715, $10,000 is going to go towards our closing costs. So that's one way you can kind of lower that a little bit, so that way you're not, you don't have to save an additional $10,000 or whatever the case might be. Um, so you're going to need the down payment, which is going to be either 3.5%, 5%, or zero. You're going to need money for the appraisal, inspection, closing costs, and reserves. So those are all things to keep in mind. That's about double your down payment. So you're going to need your down payment and then like another down payment set aside for all of that, right? So in our case, the 9 months reserves was the big thing. Um, so that was a significant amount. So just keep that in mind as well when you're doing all this budgeting and setting that money aside. That's you'll see in the budget. I kind of go over the emergency fund a couple of times because that's reserve, right? You can use like 401ks or retirement funds, or if you have money in like stocks and bonds. They just want to see some money that you have access to. I'm actually in the process of being a first-time house hacker, so that's why I'm actually able to share these tips and tricks with you. And again, these are just things that I've come across that I haven't found in any videos that I feel are the necessary steps, right? Like people don't discuss how to budget. They don't say like, hey, this is a self-sufficiency test. This is what the main issues you're going to have if you're trying to purchase this X property with this type of loan. If you're trying to do this, you might be better off doing this and saving a little bit more money for a down payment, different things like that. So we'll discuss that, show you what I've learned, what I've found, and see if you can apply it towards your process and how it helps. So again, guys, this video is going to be about budgeting. So I'm going to make a spreadsheet for you guys so you can see kind of how I jotted down my budget, how much money I was making, where I was spending money, where I could cut down and be able to take that money and put it into a savings to be able to or to have enough for my down payment. And then I also, right away when we decided to purchase a home or to move forward in the process of purchasing a home, I did open a high yield savings account right away and put some money into it, and then that way I could, consistently every paycheck, just I paid myself first too, right? I always put that money away first and then paid all my bills, right? But I wouldn't be paying everybody else first and then trying to scramble to see if I could or minimize or putting minimal amount of what I could save, right? I would always put, nope, this is what I'm putting, 500, 800, 1,000, whatever the case might be, right away, boom. And then, all right, let me take the rest, let me pay my bills now, boom, boom, boom. And now whatever's left, that's what I'll make work for the week, right? If you do it backwards and you pay all your bills first, you're right, you're then all of a sudden, boom, you got to go get some extra gas. Then you end up going to McDonald's a couple times. Then all of a sudden that 500 now turns to 350, right? Then it's 350 again. Now instead of 1,000, you have seven now, and it just works backwards, right? And then there's times you're gonna end up skipping it. So it's I found it's just more effective to put that money right away. And then also if you know like which programs you have in your area and what their down payment requirements are, and you look around the market to see what houses you're interested in, or what areas you're interested in, you'll be able to figure out, right, okay, if it's a $700,000 house and I'm using a 5% down payment program, I'm going to need to save 35,000. So if I use this process and save 1,000 a month, how long is it going to take me to get that money? Exactly, right? So just adding it up and being able to figure out, okay, it's going to take me this long. So I'm planning on this time frame to have X amount of money, and have goals, right? Set those dates, set those time frames, and then you'll be able to execute. But so again, we're going to get into the budgeting now. So I'm going to show you the spreadsheet, and it's kind of how I budgeted and how I was able to save the money for the down payment for my home.
All right, guys, so this is the spreadsheet I used. I got this from, I believe I took an FHA class or a first-time home buyers class, and I believe this is the spreadsheet they sent me. But it pretty much covers all your expenses, food, cars, everything, health insurance, everything. So this is the spreadsheet all filled out. So again, you definitely wanna don't don't shortchange yourself on this. You definitely wanna even provide a little bit of extra cushion if there's numbers that you're not too sure of. Again, don't be afraid to round up, because if you go short, you're gonna end up shortchanging yourself and maybe not being able to save as much for your down payment. But so again, so what you're gonna do, you're gonna fill all this out. You're gonna take the subtotals from each area, so right like this. So this is the housing, food, your transportation, all this stuff. You're going to add it all together. That'll give you your total expenses. Then you're going to take your monthly income. So this is my spouse's monthly income. This is after taxes, because again, this is the actual money that you're going to have in your hand. So once you get that number, you'll take your total monthly income, subtract the total expenses, and you'll get the difference, right? So that'll figure out how much you'll be able to save. Now, this is already updated as far as where we were able to cut out some of the expenses and what we were putting towards our down payment and different funds. Um, but the main areas where we were able to cut out a couple bucks was our cable bill. It was at like 150. So what we decided to do was just get internet and then stream the cable. That saved us $50. My spouse on her car note, she was able to refinance it. We're able to save $50 there. So that's, an extra $100 a month. Then the other thing was our credit cards. We were paying a couple bucks on a monthly revolving debt. So we were able to pay that down a little bit and get an extra 100 out of that. So that was an extra $200 that we were able to put towards the down payment. And then again, when we originally did these numbers, this was closer to like 5,400. So we were able to see the difference. We were spending a lot of money on miscellaneous stuff, right? Going out for dinner, buying toys for the kids all the time. Um, you know, just spending money on stupid things that we didn't have anything to show for it once the month was done. But so we were able to realize that, and then put that towards our down payment, as well as again cut down on some other areas, which has allowed us to save more faster. But again, the big thing with the budget is that you are able to see, right? Okay, this is how much money is going to be left at the end of the month, right? So you're able to see where your money's going, and you're able to again pay yourself first, right? So this was the first expense that came out of my checks every month, right? Then I would come back and pay all this stuff, because again, I knew through this budget that I would be able to still pay all that stuff off and then still have $600, spread out throughout the month. But again, $600, and this was where most of my expenses were going anyways, right? Different things, gas, car insurance, things like that, right? Food. So I knew that I was going to be okay. That $600 would be able to sustain me and my family for the month, and that we would be able to save our money for our down payment. But again, I had to pay myself first just to make sure that that money was pretty much out of my hands, kind of like a tax, right? If it's not there, you're not gonna miss it. But if it's there and you see it all the time, then you're gonna spend some money here, spend some money there. Before you know it, you're short, you're scrambling, you're not saving what you said you were gonna put in your bank. But again, also writing it down makes it a lot realer. Um, and then again, you can take this money, the subtotal savings, or even your down payment total, divide your down payment or your rough down payment costs by this number so you can figure out how long it's going to take for you to get that down payment.
But again, it's just the focus, the grind, right? And just knowing what you're doing and paying yourself first. Again, I can't stress how crucial that is. Um, just to make yourself that priority and your goals that priority, aside from other things. But then high yield savings account or maybe like a money market account, something to put your money in, right? Something that is for that specific reason as well will help you focus on that. So that's it for budgeting. Next video is going to be about credit. I'll show you guys some of the dispute letters I've sent that we're able to remove collections from my credit report as well as my spouse's. That way you can just put in your information, submit those. Hopefully that'll knock those off of yours. And then you'll be able to qualify for that pre-approval and get the process started, get the ball rolling. But that'll be in the second part. You can click the link right here.